An AI agent can spend 20 minutes clicking through websites, editing files, and running tests, then confidently say it finished, while the important part is still broken. That is why the question is not whether AI agents look impressive in demos. The real question is whether they can handle useful work when the task is messy, the tools are imperfect, and nobody is holding their hand every 10 seconds. For years, chatbots mostly waited for instructions. You asked a question, they answered. Agents add a loop. They can make a plan, use tools, observe what happened, and decide what to try next. That loop is what makes them feel less like a calculator and more like a junior assistant. But that loop also creates a misunderstanding. An agent is not a tiny employee trapped inside your computer. It is a language model repeatedly choosing the next action from a menu of tools. Sometimes that menu includes a browser, a terminal, a code editor, email, calendars, or internal company apps. This became a major conversation because the demos moved from writing text to doing chores. OpenAI released ChatGPT Agent in 2025 for complex online tasks. Anthropic pushed Claude Code as a coding agent. Developers started using agentic tools to edit repositories, run tests, and open pull requests. So can AI agents do real work yet? Yes, but not all real work. They're useful when the goal is digital, the success condition is checkable, and mistakes can be reviewed. They're risky when the task is ambiguous, high stakes, irreversible, or full of hidden context. A good way to judge an agent is to ask one question. If a careful intern made a mistake, could you quickly catch it and fix it? If the answer is yes, the agent might help. If the answer is no, the agent probably needs strict limits. The strongest area today is coding. Code gives agents something most office work does not. It gives fast feedback. The agent can edit a file, run a test, read the error, change the file again, and repeat until the tests pass or it gets stuck. That feedback loop turns software projects into a kind of laboratory. The agent does not have to guess forever. It can check. This is why agents are often better at writing tests, fixing small bugs, refactoring code, updating documentation, and exploring unfamiliar code bases than at making strategic product decisions. Public coding and terminal benchmarks in 2025 and 2026 show the same pattern. Agents are improving, and they can solve many realistic tasks. But difficult benchmarks still leave plenty unsolved. A leaderboard score is not the same as trust inside your production system. Demos usually show a clean task with a clear finish line. Real work has missing passwords, outdated documentation, weird company rules, half-broken websites, and vague requests from humans. The agent can be brilliant on the happy path and surprisingly fragile one step off it. If this kind of practical AI breakdown helps you separate useful tools from hype, consider subscribing. We will keep focusing on what the systems can actually do, where they fail, and how to think clearly about the next wave of AI products. The second useful category is research. An agent can search the web, open sources, compare claims, extract key points, and create a briefing. This is valuable when the goal is not perfect truth from one answer, but a first pass that a human can inspect. Research also exposes a major failure point. Agents can confuse a polished page with a reliable source. They can miss newer information. They can summarize correctly, but choose the wrong sources. The output may sound finished before the investigation is actually complete. The third category is operations. These are tasks like updating a spreadsheet, drafting a customer reply, filing a ticket, checking an order, scheduling a meeting, or moving information between systems. This is where agents start to look like automation that can read and reason. Traditional automation is powerful, but it is brittle. It follows a fixed recipe. Agents are more flexible because they can interpret messy text and adjust when the page looks different. That flexibility is useful, but it also means the system can improvise in ways you did not expect. To understand agents, separate the brain from the hands. The language model is the brain that predicts useful next steps. The tools are the hands. A browser hand can click. A terminal hand can run commands. A file hand can edit documents. Permissions decide what those hands are allowed to touch. A typical agent cycle looks simple. Read the goal. Make a plan. Choose a tool. Take an action. Observe the result. Update the plan. Repeat. The problem is that small mistakes compound. A wrong assumption in step 2 can create 5 confident wrong actions later. Agents run on context. They need the task, relevant files, previous decisions, company rules, user preferences, and the current state of the tools. If the right context is missing, the agent may fill the gap with a reasonable-sounding guess. That is often where real work breaks. Some agents now have memory or project instructions. That helps, but it does not make them understand your organization like a veteran employee. Memory is more like a notebook. If the notes are outdated, incomplete, or too broad, the agent can still follow the wrong pattern. One of the most annoying agent failures is the completion trap. The agent wants to report progress. It may stop after doing the easy visible parts and skip the hidden verification. In coding, that might mean changing files without running the full test suite. In operations, it might mean drafting a reply without checking the latest account status. The best agent workflows build in verification. For code, run tests and review diffs. For research, require source links and conflict checks. For operations, use approval steps before sending, buying, deleting, or changing customer data. An agent without verification is a confident guesser with a keyboard. There is also a stranger problem called prompt injection. If an agent reads a web page or email, that text can contain instructions aimed at the agent. A malicious page might say to ignore previous directions or reveal private data. Humans see spam. Agents may treat it like part of the task. Using websites is harder than it looks. Pages change, buttons move, pop-ups appear, login sessions expire. The agent may click the wrong thing or get trapped in a loop. A human instantly notices the weird page state. The agent has to infer it from pixels, text, and tool feedback. Agents also spend tokens, tool calls, and time. A person might solve a simple problem in 5 minutes. An agent might search, plan, call tools, correct itself, and take 20 minutes. If the output still needs careful review, the economics depend on the exact task. This creates the manager problem. If you must watch every click, the agent is not saving much time. If you watch nothing, you may miss a quiet mistake. The sweet spot is giving agents bounded tasks with clear checkpoints, not vague responsibility for an entire business process. A good agent task sounds like this. Find the failing test, propose a fix, run the relevant tests, and show the diff. Or compare these 5 sources and list disagreements. Or prepare a draft email, but do not send it. Notice that each version has a narrow scope and a visible stopping point. A bad agent task sounds like this. Improve our onboarding, handle customer support, research competitors, make the app better. These are real goals, but they are too wide. The agent may choose a path that seems reasonable while missing what actually matters to the organization. For now, the most reliable pattern is not human versus agent. It is human plus agent. The human defines the goal, provides context, checks judgment, and approves risky actions. The agent does the tedious navigation, drafting, searching, editing, and repeated trial and error. Real work is not just output, it includes responsibility. If an agent writes code, someone owns the bug. If it sends an email, someone owns the relationship. If it changes a database, someone owns the consequences. That is why deployment is more about control than excitement. The honest 2026 view is that agents are becoming useful digital workers for bounded tasks. They are not generally reliable, independent employees. The gap is not only intelligence, it is reliability, permissions, memory, evaluation, security, and integration with messy, real systems. The next improvements to watch are not just bigger models. Watch better tool use, better long task memory, safer permission systems, stronger sandboxing, and evaluations based on fresh, real workflows. The agent that wins may not be the one that talks best. It may be the one that checks its work best. If you are trying agents today, start with low-risk work. Use them for drafts, summaries, test generation, internal scripts, data cleanup, and research briefs. Keep approvals on anything external, expensive, legal, financial, private, or irreversible. That is not anti-AI. That is basic operational hygiene. The hype says agents will take over entire jobs overnight. The useful reality is quieter. They can remove annoying chunks of work, especially when the task is digital and verifiable. That still matters. A tool does not need to be fully autonomous to be valuable. So, can AI agents actually do real work yet? Yes, if real work means bounded digital tasks with review. No, if it means unlimited trust, independent judgment, and zero supervision. The best way to use them is not to believe the demo or dismiss the whole category. It is to design the work so success can be checked. What agent task would you actually trust today? And what task would you never hand over yet? Drop your answer in the comments. If you have a question about coding agents, research agents, or AI automation workflows, suggest it there, and it may become the next explainer.